Just trying to make sure we are good to go with sound. And it sounds like we are. Okay. Time is 10:43 Tuesday night. We are following strong to severe thunderstorms moving into and through parts of the Channel 3 KIII viewing area, primarily Duval and Jim Hogg counties. We are going to be getting into the radar. We're going to hang out as long as we need to on this thing, so it's going to be a continuous feed and stream of information. Just know that if you're watching it and the time right now, you look at your phone, wherever you're watching, is not 10:44, then you're watching a recording. You'll also see on the top of the graphics, the top right, the time that it currently is, real time, 10:44, Tuesday, May the 28th. This is the evening time. So we'll get into these storms here. We'll be talking a lot of stuff. I know, people want to know exactly where, what time, what city, across the board. We'll get to as much of that as we possibly can here through the course of this Facebook, YouTube, 3 News Plus, 3 News Now live feed. So first things first, we've got a pair of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Duval and Jim Hogg counties. These are in effect till 11:15. And they are for 60-mile-per-hour wind and penny to nickel-sized hail. So we're not quite up to the 1-inch severe level hail, but it's close on both of those warnings. They're moving east, southeast around 35 miles per hour. Lots of lightning, plenty of heavy rain in this stuff as well. We'll get focused in on this now. I'm going to just pause the radar real time so we can really look closely at what's going on here. And I may take the auto queries on the warnings off just to make a little bit more room. So take those off and you'll see that those severe warnings are still there. So the movement of these things, east to southeast. So we're kind of doing this number and more to the southeast on the southern flank near Zapata on this activity. And general east to southeast movement at 35 miles per hour. Let's look at the hail. Hail threat, we've been talking about this all night. The bigger threat was farther into Mexico, west of I-35. That's where the bigger threat is. You see down south of Zapata, there's a big hail core there. But elsewhere, moving toward Hebronville, we're looking specifically for, the KIII viewers out there, northern Jim Hogg County. You see how this little gray area is moving? And you see also another really cool sign of the weakening of the storms. Lots of hail out near Laredo, around 9:45. And watch how those colors turn into darker shades of gray. That's the weakening. We'll go sample that's the worst of it. About 1/2-inch hail moving in the direction of Hebronville right now. Up toward Freer, not seeing much, if any at all. There's a little signal up here by Encinal. About 1/2-inch hail there. So we're not talking about damaging, large, destructive hail. If we were seeing something like this down south of Zapata, we'd be a lot more worried about this. 1.5 inches. There was a little bit bigger of a, let's look really close. I just want to see how big. What are these purples showing us? 1.5 inches on the hail there. That's big. That would be damaging, but that's not coming our way. Another look at the radar. The worst of these storms are going to be, we got a little update now. They took the northern part of Duval County out of the warning, and the reason for that has to do with the way these storms are bulging out. So right in here, straddling the Duval, Jim Hogg County line close to Hebronville, that's where the strongest winds are going to be within this entire line. You've got wind rushing in, and it's causing that little reverse C look in the line of storms. So that is moving into Hebronville right now. Let's really get close on the radar now. I just want, so Hebronville, you're getting the storms right now, and you're under that severe warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. I do want to look, and remember we were talking about how the shape of the storms, that's how the wind is moving in right to Hebronville. The radar's over here in Corpus Christi. All of the green hues represent inbound wind toward the radar. And let's check this out. I mean, Hebronville, you're going to get smacked here with some wind. Right in Hebronville right now, 50-mile-per-hour gusts. Looking up closer to 60 miles per hour heading your way. Just sampling the radar. So it's going to be pretty strong in Hebronville. You probably want to be, in a safe spot, interior part of your home right now. This is all straight line wind. It's going to be moving in from the west. So, now's not the time to be out and about in Hebronville. That wind is going to be pretty strong. And again, that's all streaming in like so from the west, right into Hebronville. So that's right into the Hebronville area. And that wind, remember we were talking about the reverse C look to the line. It's starting to bow out a little bit. That wind is streaming in right in there, right toward Hebronville. So 60-mile-an-hour winds for you right now. Because of that bowing structure, freer, a lot less intense on the rain. And again, we talked about this a lot, 5, 6, and even our 10 o'clock broadcast, how a lot of this activity is looking like it's going to move to the south and east, missing Corpus Christi, the strong stuff. I still think we see a little bit of rain. This is all coming toward Corpus Christi. All of this is going to work to the south and east. We'll put it into motion so you can see that movement. So all of that, there's some storms in there. All of that's going to move toward the coast. But the strong stuff, the severe stuff, that is looking like it's going to be more so toward, the Jim Hogg County, Brooks County, maybe southern Jim Wells County, Kennedy County, possibly Clayburgh County. Not there yet. Just want to see how that northern flank of the storms act before we start talking about that. But that's how it looks to me, where, if you are basically north of that line, maybe even a little farther to the south in here, if you're north of that line that I just drew, let me get rid of this one. If you're north of the white line on the map, you're probably not going to get severe level stuff in here. I don't think we see severe stuff unless something up south of San Antonio starts getting angry. I don't see that though right now. I don't see anything up here getting strong. The strong stuff is going to be moving in this direction toward the valley. So we've got the pair of severe thunderstorm warnings in play for southwestern Duval County and all of Jim Hogg County, which does include Hebronville. You're getting the wind right now in Hebronville. So we're going to focus on these stronger storms. I don't want to neglect or ignore any of this stuff up to the north, but this is not strong to severe. There may be some pockets of heavy rain, some occasional lightning, a little bit of a flare up to the east of Cotulla. There's a storm up there moving toward McMullen County. But this stuff, by and large, we've got a severe cell up north of San Antonio into Canyon Lake. This stuff I'm not as worried about as the stuff that's down here. Now Falfurrias, southern Jim Wells County, you're also in the severe thunderstorm warning. So that's a new warning that was just issued there. And that warning is not for hail, it's wind, it's a severe wind warning. So we're talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds in that activity. Let's get a storm track going on this so we can pin down the locations based on current movement. So 40-mile-per-hour movement there over the last hour. So now I'm going to tell our computer, hey, that's where I want you to be tracking at 40 miles per hour. Old school. So given that movement of, I didn't get that good there. Let me redraw that. 40-mile-per-hour movement puts these storms in these locations at these times. Benavides, a little before 11:30. Falfurrias, a little after 11:30. Into Clayburgh County around midnight. And Rivera, a little after midnight, toward the Baffin Bay. So if you're in Kingsville, for example, around midnight, given a 40-mile-per-hour movement, and I'm not as confident as I'd like to be on if that strong section of the storm just continues to go straight east. If it does, you're going to get it. If it starts to go a little south of east, it may miss you to the south. I don't think Corpus Christi is in line for anything severe at this point, given the trend we're seeing on the radar. And I may need to update here on the web, so you might see or hear me typing a little bit as I try to keep things updated. So just bear with me. I'm just making sure things are loaded properly. And I'll leave this up and running so we can all see it as I type this out. So just hang on a second. Again, if you're watching us right now, I'm just making a post for Facebook, so people, if they're not watching this, they get the information. We've also got our bug up and running on our air that has all the warnings as well. Okay, got that up to the Facebooks. And I'm curious to see if there's any reports coming out of Hebronville given the wind threat there, with that storm bulging right over the top of Hebronville. I'd suspect that there's going to be some pretty big reports of wind. I'm going to look actually at our wind data and see if I can find any real-time readings. So just, you know, if you're watching this is, you know, kind of sleeves rolled up. We're looking at all this stuff real time together, everything for the first time. You're seeing it exactly as I'm seeing it as we are looking at these, you know, storms rolling through. What I'm really focused on is Hebronville, and the reading there is only 26 miles per hour on the current wind speed. See what the gusts are coming in at, 38 miles per hour. So, you know, don't know how accurate that is just because it's not a real-time reading. These are updated a little bit more slowly. But, you know, the radar is indicating some hefty winds rolling through northern Jim Hogg County. We'll bring the radar back in on the wind product and just sample it. We're just seeing what's over here. So 50-mile-an-hour winds, 56. So we're close to that severe threshold over in northern Jim Hogg County. Here are the storms. I mean, there's a lot of activity. A lot of the watershed's getting rain too. Watershed is sitting below 27% right now. This is beneficial. It's not going to fix our problems, but anything helps at this point. You know, maybe we have a few percents, you know, few tenths of a percent uptick because of this, if that. The watershed, for those that don't know, we'll just pull up the drought monitor, show you where that is. Let's see where it is here. Can't find, I have a ton of graphics. I wish y'all could see what I'm looking through right now. Here it is. So the drought monitor coupled with the watershed, and you'll see where this is with respect to where the rain is. Right now we're in dry conditions, not technically in a drought, this yellow hue. The watershed sits, you know, a pretty big chunk of Texas between Del Rio and Laredo and San Antonio. That's really the bulk of where the watershed is. And a lot of the rain is falling there right now tonight. But it's just, you know, you need multiple events, big rains to really start to see an appreciable difference. And what we've got right now is great, but it's not going to be something where all of a sudden all of our water issues are gone because of this. So the drought, the watershed, you know, the watershed generally is right in here. Goes down right there, and right about there is where the watershed is roughly. And that's where the rain is falling. So it's good, but it's not enough, you know. This is good, but it's not enough to fix everything. Let's go back, check the hail. Not much. That's good. That's a good sign. Hebronville, not seeing any hail there. None in Duval County. The biggest storm is crossing the Rio Grande. I don't know if that's Falcon or Falcon, New Falcon. I don't see the accent on the O, so I'm going to say New Falcon because of that. You know, that's where the hail is. One-inch hail there. That's where the biggest hail threat is, and it's not a threat to the KIII viewing area. We're not seeing any hail now in our software. There's a little bit. Remember we were talking about that storm between Cotulla and Tilden. That one's starting to get a little bit of hail in it, half-inch hail. That storm is sitting right over here, over Fowlerton right there. That's the storm that may have half-inch hail, penny-sized hail. Get a look at how this is all moving. A lot of reports coming in from Hebronville. Thank you for all of them. A lot of people saying the wind is really strong, heavy rain, loud thunder. Thank you for all of the reports. So we've got a lot of activity moving into/through the coastal bend. Not all of it is severe, which tends to be the case in situations like this, but some of them are. Strongest stuff moving into southern Duval through Jim Hogg County and headed for southern Jim Wells and western Clayburgh County. You know, Brooks County, Falfurrias, you're not technically in the warning right now, but it's coming your way. You know, I'd be ready for 60-mile-an-hour winds in Falfurrias/Brooks County. The stuff to the north, not terribly strong, but again, you see the movement. You're seeing it with me right now. Everything is moving southeast. The stronger stuff is moving faster, 40 miles per hour. Generally, everything else, 30 to 35 on the wind speeds. I feel like our AC is not working. Does it feel hot in you to hear? Does it feel hot? Our morning producers are coming in already. Jimmy's here. I think Elysia's here. So yeah, you might be wondering, maybe you're watching us, well, why aren't you on TV right now doing this, right? Why aren't you doing, you know, the cut-ins or breaking into the programming right now? And we try to save that type of, you know, coverage for really hazardous life-death type stuff. In other words, if this was producing 80-mile-an-hour winds and 2-inch hail, or a tornado, something like that. If we got one of those warnings, we'd go and shift gears into another level. But we're trying to just keep updated digitally as best we can. And you know, this to us, and by the way we do things here at Channel 3, this is not warranting, you know, breaking into programming to cover severe level, you know, thunderstorm activity. So if you're wondering that, that's why. But the big stuff, again, not all of the viewing area is going to get the strong to severe storms. I'm going to pause this so I can just show how we're looking at this. And the wind coming in to Hebronville right now is coming in from the west. It is bulging out, creating this bow-like structure. And at the arc of this, that's where the strongest winds are going to be. So the county line of Brooks and Duval, the county line of Brooks and Jim Hogg, and then right toward the Baffin Bay, that's the direction this stuff is going. And that, I think, is where the strongest winds are going to be. You get this inflow coming in from the rear. That's an inflow notch, a rear inflow notch starting to develop. You see how the returns are starting to become a little bit less pronounced right in here. So less rain showing up as the wind is pushing that rain forward. That's where the strong winds are. We'll go over to the wind product to just kind of confirm that. And, you know, you'll see the wind is up there, near 60-mile-per-hour winds showing up on the radar in and around the Hebronville area. And those winds are coming in from the west, like so, pushing that bow structure out on the radar reflectivity. Hail, not as much of a threat. I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to have a hail threat from here moving forward. It's all going to be a wind threat, if anything at all. So I don't think we've got the hail threat, just given what we're seeing on the trends. Slew of severe warnings, though. And we're talking about how really, I think, locations, I'm going to draw this line right in here. If you're north of that line, the severe threat looks fairly low. South of it, Falfurrias, Jim Hogg, Brooks, Kennedy counties, you're in for this bowed out structure, coming your way. This is moving to the east-southeast 40 miles per hour at last check. So that wind is really accelerating this activity. Farther north, this stuff is not as strong. Nothing is severe really north of Highway 44. Nothing is severe north of Highway 44. And all of this is also moving to the south and east. We'll loop it for you to see. So we got the severe warning till 11:45. That includes Jim Wells in western Clayburgh County. That's for 60-mile-per-hour winds. And we are talking about that right in this bowed-out structure of this activity. That's where the 60-mile-an-hour winds are going to be. So if you're watching from Falfurrias, this is coming in. It's not far away. It's moving 40 and it's 15 miles out, meaning it's going to be to you very quickly. At 40-mile movement, 20 minutes out, 11:33, the estimated arrival based on a 40-mile-per-hour movement in Falfurrias. Let's just make sure they're still moving at that same clip, 40 miles per hour or so. You got to check these things. They ebb and flow. On average, it's been about 30 to 35 tonight on the speed, but this bowed out section is moving quicker. Still about 40, maybe even a little faster, but 40 miles per hour is probably a good estimate there on the speed that this is moving. So if you're watching from Corpus Christi, most of our, viewers in this area, this market, live in Corpus Christi. I do think we see some rain spread in, but the severe stuff is going to be to the south. The severe stuff is going to be in places like Falfurrias, like Kennedy County. That's the Sarita checkpoint. That's where that is. Rivera may catch some of this. Western Clayburgh County may catch some of this. All of Brooks County is going to get this. So if you're in Brooks County, that's where Falfurrias is. Falfurrias is way up at the top of Brooks County. Encino, the 281 corridor, all of this, is moving your direction. In Encino by 11:45, another 30 minutes. There's Rivera. Sorry, I'm moving this so quickly. I'm just scrolling down. I want to see what cities pop up on this 77 in Kennedy County. Interesting. Cool. So yeah, I don't know. I was trying to get Sarita to pop up. That's it right there. It's not showing up for whatever reason. Anyway, digressing. Oh, Carly is in the building, coming in early. Carly won't miss a good storm.
I will not.
No.
No.
Yeah. So we're just hanging out. Yeah. Good. Take your time.
Get ready.
Yeah. Take your time. We're good.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah. So we try to overlap our shifts when we've got severe stuff like this in the area. It gets hard to put a forecast together, cover severe weather, get ready, got to put the makeup on, put the tie on. We don't come in fully dressed and ready to go. So it's a process, right? And so when you've got someone kind of manning the radar, the alerts, the warnings, covering the situation at hand, it gives the other person time to, get their bearings, get their graphics, and get ready for a successful broadcast for the shift ahead. So that's how we do it here. Very, very team-oriented. Carly's great. I didn't even ask her to come in. She came in early all on her own. That's just kind of, those are the people that work here. Channel 3 is great. We hire great people. And, I love it. I love the people that work here. Anyway, getting sentimental about all this now. Situation at hand, the only severe warning in the area now is for southern half of Duval County, Jim Wells County, and the western part of Clayburgh County. So Kingsville, you're not in it. There really aren't any cities in western Clayburgh County, it's mainly farmland out there. But you're going to get some rain in Kingsville. This is going to move and continue to move to the east-southeast toward the Baffin Bay. The stuff coming in from the north, not looking as strong, although this is a pretty healthy-looking storm moving into Tilden right now. I'm going to get another look at the hail product on it because that has been showing up. And you see there, half-inch hail moving into McMullen County. So we'll pay attention to that. It's not severe warned, but if it continues to move east-southeast toward Live Oak County, we'll be updating there. A little more hail showing up in Webb County, west of Freer. So this little cell's kind of throwing out some hail now. Another little vortex-looking feature right there in Webb County, east of I-35. It's the feature that kind of catching my eye right there. Again, we're not expecting tornadic activity. This just isn't the setup for that. But you can get these little vortexes in the radar kind of spinning up. I'm going to just loop this because I'm curious now how that looks. Right in there. So this is the feature I'm looking at. Right here. Right in here. And so that may be another one of those, we were talking about this early, a bookend vortice, which it doesn't look classic, but what's happening is your wind, as all of this air is rushing out, right? All of this air is pushing out. So you've got air moving in like this. The air and the returns that are like, let's say around free air, you're starting to get a little spin around the back side of this little bow echo, and it's making this little vortex looking feature. So it's not tornadic, but it's just kind of turning the reflectivity and the rain into that structure, and it's called a bookend vortice. They can happen on the northern or southern flanks of these things. On the southern flank, they tend to be anticyclonic, so clockwise spin. I'm not seeing that on the southern flank of this little bow-ish structure. I still think this is more of a, what you'd call a mesoscale convective system or complex. You could make an argument for a bow echo at this point. But the strongest winds within this will be where the bulge is. So moving toward Falfurrius right now, that's where the strongest winds are going to be. And let's take a look and see how the radar is depicting said winds. 50, 50. So 50-mile-an-hour winds, it looks like. There could be some stronger gusts in there. But this wind is moving in from the west, pushing these storms to the east. Again, Norma Garcia. Looks like it's all over here in Corpus. Yeah, I don't know about that. You know, there's activity moving in the direction of Corpus Christi. Is it the big bow echo looking feature? No, that does not look like it's coming this way. But there's activity moving to the south and east. And time again, you know, I tell people when we have a severe risk, a low-end chance for severe level thunderstorms, right? It doesn't mean that Corpus Christi is guaranteed to get severe weather. It doesn't mean that any location in particular is guaranteed to get severe weather. It just means that it's possible that a few storms do get strong to severe, and that's exactly what's happening right now. We're getting severe weather in the KIII viewing area where it's affecting people that watch us. Hebronville, for example, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds 30 minutes ago, an hour ago. Falfurrius about to get 50 to 60 mile per hour winds under a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what we're guarding against. We're not saying everyone's going to get the worst of every single storm to ever move through here every time in Corpus Christi. It just doesn't work that way. But we want people to be as prepared as possible. And it's raining. It's raining across a big chunk of the viewing area. This is actually exceeding my expectations for how much coverage I thought we'd see. All of this stuff up north, this stuff, to me, is bonus. I thought we would see mainly this bow echo line of storms come through. I didn't think the stuff that's between us and San Antonio would be this impressive. So that's all bonus extra stuff, and that is falling in the watershed where we want it to fall. So, this is a great look on the radar for us. Again, it's not going to solve all the problems with respect to the reservoirs, but it's helping. It's not hurting. So we're getting that rain in those locations. We're focused on the stronger stuff because that's where, safety is more of a concern. And for right now, Concepcion, Fremont, Falfurrias, Concepcion, you're getting it right now. Fremont, Falfurrias, this is a few minutes out. Probably seeing lightning, hearing thunder. And this warning is for 60 mile per hour winds moving in from the west. I have a smudge on my glasses and I didn't bring my little cleaning lens. So that's annoying me right now. I always chuckle when I see the comments. It's universal. It never hits X city. Pick your poison. Whatever city you live in, the storms never hit. I get it. When you see them out there and it feels like they're all going around, it can feel like that, but it's just, it's not true. I showed this graphic, the last hit, or the last, we were talking about this on the last iteration of this little live stream before the 10 o'clock news, to show that that's just not true. And it's for Corpus Christi, this data I'm about to show. Last 6 years have averaged above average rainfall in Corpus Christi when you take the whole, right? And 2 of the years have been really active. 40 plus inches in 2018. That's the 16th wettest on record out of 138 years in Corpus Christi. And the 3rd most active year with respect to rainfall totals in Corpus Christi was 2021. Almost 47 inches of rain. The yearly average is just under 32 inches. So I know it can be frustrating if you don't get the biggest storm on the radar every time, but that doesn't mean that it never rains. It just, if it never rained, it would be the South Texas, the Great Desert of South Texas. Although it is dry here, our climate is relatively dry. It's certainly not a desert. Sometimes I'll call it a tropical desert because it's so humid and we don't get a ton of rain, but it rains. That's the point I'm trying to make. Light rain is now moving into parts of Nueces, San Patricio County. So light rain moving in right now. I have a really clean vehicle right now, so I'm kind of bummed I'm going to get it dirty on my way home, but it is what it is. You can wash it again, right? The storms north of here, nothing severe. There's a little stronger storm moving toward Tilden right now. This one has been producing some smaller hail, probably pea-sized. It's not severe warned. The biggest winds right now are heading toward Falfurrias, moving in right now. Let's look at the wind. Bring up the wind chart. This is velocity data, and this is all from the radar. Just get a sample. 35, it looks like it's not as strong either on the wind speeds. So we're talking maybe 40 mile per hour winds right now on moving into Falfurrias. Severe warning till 11:45. I'll be curious to see if that gets extended given how the radar velocity looks right now. Not seeing hail anywhere in the viewing area. The only storm producing maybe some pea-sized hail is moving into McMullen County. That's the little hail center right in here. Half inch, so we're talking dime, penny, maybe pea-sized hail. The storm movement here, putting a 1 hour loop on the radar. So you can see how everything's moving. Generally to the southeast, stronger stuff's moving about 40 miles per hour. The weaker stuff, 30 to 35 miles per hour. It's all moving toward the coast. Nothing is severe warned north of Highway 44. And it looks like this warning, the one that's in effect till 11:45 in southern Jim Wells, western Clayburgh, southern Duval County, I don't know if that'll get continued or extended. It's interesting too because our viewing area is separated by 2 Weather Service offices. So all of this stuff down here, Falfurrias, Brooks County, Jim Hogg County, Kennedy County, that's all from the Brownsville Weather Service office. And they decided not to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Brooks County, while ours in Corpus Christi has one up, for the adjacent counties to the north. And it looks like the wind speed, I'm not calling anybody out, but it's just interesting to see how the 2 offices handle the same storm, right? You've got one that doesn't have a warning and the other that does. And what I think happened is as this storm was over here, when this warning was issued, the storm was in that area, right? It was right in there when the warning was issued, and the winds were a lot stronger at that point. But since then, it's weakened. And I'm curious to see if that warning gets reissued. I don't think it will be given the wind speed that we're looking at. And I don't know why I can't. There we go. I'm going to try to delete that stuff. Okay. So, and it's looking more ragged. The returns are getting less red. Not seeing the hail threat. So this stuff is likely weakening. And again, the wind threat doesn't look as bad as it was, say, 20 to 30 minutes ago. Call it 40 miles per hour on the wind gusts in the Falfurrias right now. So things starting to settle down a little bit with respect to the severe threat. The severe thunderstorm watch box, it's the larger yellow polygon. Let me see if I can move it up. So this large yellow polygon, that's the severe thunderstorm watch. That'll expire in 2.5 hours at 2 o'clock in the morning. But given this look, I think after this warning right here expires, I don't know if we'll see another one issued if this storm continues to weaken. I don't know if we'll see another one issued. Only other storm on the board that we may see something pop up with is moving toward Tilden, but this one also is looking like it's weakening. Little tell is the hail product, and it's looking less and less impressive. Last check was 1/2 inch hail on the estimates. So now we're at 2/5 of an inch. Moving into McMullen County, south of Fowlerton. So this is the storm threat and chance that we were talking about yesterday. Yesterday we were saying not so much for Corpus Christi. We had that complex of storms move to the south of Corpus Christi, and we were saying tomorrow night, in other words tonight, looked a lot better, and certainly seeing that coverage a lot more impressive on the radar. Also at 5 and 6 o'clock, if you were watching those broadcasts, we were saying that the big stuff, the stronger stuff, the trend was looking like it was going to be to the south and west of Corpus Christi, and that's exactly what is happening right now, with more rain moving in to the coastal bend from the north. Between San Antonio and here, there's more shower and thunderstorm activity closing in on the coastline. So I'm pretty happy with this forecast, given what we were talking about last night, comparing the two chances for rain and seeing what we have on the radar, especially because it's falling in the watershed. And the strongest stuff is where we were talking about, it heading. That's where it's going, the southwestern part of the viewing area. So overall, pretty happy with this forecast, the way it's playing out and the way the rain looks currently on the radar. After tonight's rain, I do think there's a little chance Friday night into Saturday morning. I'll show you why I think that's a possibility here. We're talking about big high pressure over Mexico, and air circulates around high pressure in a clockwise motion. So you're getting this flow right around that high, and generally it suppresses rain chances. So you don't see a ton of energy under that high. Everything is arcing up and over the top of it, and there's a little piece of energy right here, a short wave, that will be kind of arcing over the top of the influence of that high pressure and over south central Texas. And that little short wave right here, moving through the region may be enough to ignite another chance for shower and thunderstorm activity Friday night. So that's why I've got that in the forecast. That's just the insight. That's what I'm seeing. That's why, that's the explanation for the little storm icon and a 20 to 40% chance on Friday night. That's what I'm looking at, and that's what's causing me to put that in the 7-day outlook. Other than that, after tonight's rain chance and then that one Friday night, it's back hot, humid stuff. On pace to be the warmest May on record in Corpus Christi and the most humid May on record in Corpus Christi. Back to the radar. Haven't really seen any reports coming out of Hebbronville other than people saying, wow, that was scary, a lot of strong wind. No real hail reports. It sounds like it was mainly a wind thing. And if you're watching from Corpus Christi, again, this is looking messy now, so we're not expecting anything severe, but shower and thunderstorm activity, it is moving generally from the northwest to the southeast, and that's it's gonna move through parts of the coastal bend. Is it gonna be all strong, all heavy, the worst ever? No, it's not. It's weakening, and that's okay. We've had some severe warnings in the viewing area, and that's just the way it goes with severe events that are, low-end severe threats. This was not a high-end severe threat at all. But we did see a handful of severe warned storms, and I'm curious to see what this one does at 11:45. My hunch is that we're not going to see it reissued. So that's another 5 minutes from right now. And once that does expire, I'll probably log off on this Facebook Live, the 3 News app, the YouTube. You know, I just wanted to be on while we did have these severe warnings out. But with them going, looks like away at 11:45, I'll probably log off of here, you know, and chit-chat with Carly for a little bit and head out of here, get some rest. I'm hoping there's some little distant rumbles of thunder and some pitter-patter I can get some good sleep in. We'll see how that plays out. But generally, things look like they're quieting down. Still some thunder out there, still some heavy rain, and everything moving northwest, west-northwest to east-southeast. We'll call it that. Call it a little bit of a west-northwest to east-southeast movement there on this big shield. That's a lot of rain. That is a lot of rain. Look at how far north it stretches. Getting up toward Dallas, the I-20 corridor. So Fremont now starting to get into this. Valfurious getting into this. Hebronville, you probably still have some gusty winds, but the rain is probably letting up for you right now. Three minutes out till this warning expires. We'll see. It's not going to get reissued. The bigger yellow polygon, that is the severe thunderstorm watch box, and that expires at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is probably losing forward speed at this point as well. Let's look at the speed. With the weaker looking system, not going to be as quick to move. I mean, it was really robust into Hebronville. There probably were 50 to 60 mile per hour winds over in Hebronville. That's still about 40 miles an hour, so we'll track this out. Just this bowed out feature. So Kingsville, 12:13, another 20 minutes or so. No, sorry, 30 minutes. It's late. Pins, 12:45, Padre Island National Seashore. Rivera, little after midnight. Kingsville NAS, little after 12:15. That's about 30 minutes. One more minute, waiting to see what this severe warning does. It's going to go bye-bye. There it goes. And they took the one down south away also. So now no severe stuff on the radar at 11:45 Tuesday. The only polygon is that severe thunderstorm watch till 2 o'clock in the morning. So with that, I'm probably going to log off of this thing. You know, Carly's here. If something does go, you know, a little bit stronger, I've got my eye on this one over here near Freer. You're getting this is a healthy looking cell. Definitely heavy rain into Freer right now. Hail, maybe a little bit. This is pea-sized. Not talking about anything huge. Pea-sized hail, northwestern Duval County. And another little tell on the hail, look how the lightning is confined up there to northwestern Duval County. When you get hail, it tends to amplify the lightning production. So, you know, may have a little pea-sized hail up near Freer. If you're just watching, just logging on, we've been on this for I don't know how long, a while. And everything is moving to the east-southeast. See that general movement to the east-southeast. But nothing severe right now. So again, I'm going to kind of call it quits on this thing. If we've got to jump back on, we will certainly do that. Throw up the 7-day just to kind of wrap things up. Hot, humid. Hurricane season starts June 1st. Our special airs, hurricane special airs 6:30 June 1st p.m. It's a Saturday. You can watch it if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, but a lot of useful information. We talk about why the forecast is looking a lot more busy and active. We talk about a shift in how people are dying in storms. There's a big shift over the last 10 years, and we talk about that. We talk about when it's time to board up. That's one of the big questions that we'll get. If a storm is close or threatening, when do I board up? We get into that in the hurricane special. We talk about maybe it's your first hurricane season here in the coastal bend, right? People moving to the area. From the perspective of one of our own meteorologists, how is she thinking about this season being her first one, you know, as a meteorologist living in a tropical prone area? So we go into that aspect of the season. We're talking to the interim emergency management coordinator of Corpus Christi, Billy Delgado's replacement. We're talking to him, a new person in that role heading into what looks like a busy season. La Nina, we talk about that. There's just a lot of stuff within that 30-minute special, you know, that is useful. And the goal of it, I always tell people this, is not to be a catch-all. You're not going to watch that and have everything solved heading into hurricane season. It's just there's so many aspects. There's so many different ways that you can prepare. Everybody's got a different preparation that they've got to go through. You might be single, it's just you. You might have a family. You might have elderly people living with you. You might, you know, have a condition where you can't go somewhere if a storm comes. There's just so many different aspects that you can't cover all of it. But the goal is to get you thinking about your own preparation, right? Just like every storm is different, the way people prepare for a storm is going to be different. So it's just about getting awareness out there, and just talking about the season and some of the trends that we're seeing now, today. What's different this year than the last 50 years with respect to the way people are dying in the storm? So we go through all that stuff. I don't want to give it all away, but that'll air June 1st, and you can sneak preview it at the WeatherFest, Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History WeatherFest event. All of our meteorologists, me, Carly, Kristen, Faith, we're all going to be out there, some panel discussions, the green screen, great kid event, great family-friendly event. You can go to that this weekend. Runs from 10 to 6 on Saturday. So if you want to do that, that'll be a good thing. So anyway, I'm going to get off Facebook Live, all these streaming platforms, YouTube, 3 News Now, 3 News Plus. We're going to log off of this. If something pops up severe, we'll get back on, but it looks like things are quieting down. One last check of the radar here before I log off, just to make sure nothing has been reissued other than that, the severe thunderstorm watch, and it hasn't. So we're going to leave it there. Y'all stay safe, and more importantly, try to stay cool. Practice heat safety. Lots of heat headed our way.